Today, we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. And Douglas has asked if I might share some of my story with you, reflecting on the theme of resurrection. As some of you may know, I was born and raised on a farm in Zimbabwe. And my sister and I had the privilege of two very loving and supportive parents. My mum would take us to church on Sundays, but my dad was not a practicing Christian, and he seldom came with us, except on Easter or Christmas. I often remember praying as a young girl that he would one day find faith. My father was a successful farmer, and he'd made landmark achievements on the farm that he was born on and lived for 60 years. Alas, that all changed in the year 2000. The greed and corruption that had polluted the Zimbabwean political landscape bubbled over into the land invasions. In 2002, at gunpoint, my parents were given 24 hours to leave their home and farm, one day to move a lifetime's assets and memories, and then later our home was torched. The tractors and implements lay useless and rusting. Once fertile land was overgrown with weeds, and the destruction of a prize-winning cattle herd that had taken years to build. Now, Dad could have been forgiven for asking, where was God in all of this? Everything he'd worked for his whole life, lost through circumstances beyond his control. A few years later, after my parents had immigrated to South Africa, and whilst endeavouring to rebuild their shattered lives, my father's life was transformed and he became a Christian, not far off the age of 70. In my dad's own words, after all the years of trials and tribulation, God guided me and my family, and when I reflect now, even in our darkest hour, he was by our side, guiding and protecting us. Then, about 3 years ago, I received the dreaded phone call to say that my dad had been rushed to hospital and that I needed to catch the next plane back. My dad had been diagnosed with a blood clotting disorder in his mid-50s, and we'd had a few close calls before, but this was serious. My dad had suffered a massive bleed on his brain, and he was not able to come out of a coma. Needless to say, my family and I were devastated. But it was during my grief that I found great comfort. God spoke to me through my wonder and fascination with life after death. I was given peace in the knowledge that through the resurrection of Jesus, a bridge has been created. Our debt has been paid, and we need no longer fear death. The cross has overthrown the grave. I can confidently trust now that my dear Father is with his Heavenly Father. And I'm reminded of the verse from Matthew 16, where Jesus says, "Take up your cross and follow me." Through my dad's coming to faith, he became an incredible witness to me and to many others during the last few years of his life. And now I would like to say thank you to God for raising his Son, Jesus Christ, to life again, and for the difference that the resurrection makes to my life and to us all. Wishing you all a very happy Easter.